Hey guys, Chris here, and this is Haley.
Yeah, as seasoned celebration attendees, we have a lot of information that we think will be helpful to share.
We've been to Chicago, we've been to Anaheim,
Twice.
we've been to Anaheim again, and Orlando. Twice? I've been to Orlando twice.
I think I've only been once. Anyway.
So we have a little experience.
Yeah.
So our first suggestion would be
making a game plan. So all that really means is prioritize when you're thinking about your schedule for the day or days that you're going to be at the convention.
Definitely, planning makes perfect. There's so much to do at the convention. You're not going to be able to do it all, so you want to plan accordingly. You want to pick maybe your top 2 or 3 things for every day that you definitely have to do, and then just go from there.
Part of the making the game plan when you are first going is on the first day. It's a really good idea to get acquainted with the convention center, especially if it's one you've never been to.
One of the main things you need to find out is where do you enter the convention? Because a lot of times there's multiple entrances and they're all blocked except for like the 1 or 2 that you can get into the building.
Mm-hmm. And that sounds like a silly, simple suggestion, but trust me, we have circled the buildings many times looking for the way in.
Yep. A lot of steps on our pedometer.
Tip number 2, and one that I think is equally as important, is wearing comfortable shoes. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm an expert because I wore uncomfortable shoes one time. I wore my Converse Chuck Taylors, and before I even got to the convention, I had blisters on my feet. Mm-hmm. So it made for a very painful experience. So make sure you have good running shoes, walking shoes, whatever your favorite, most comfortable shoes are. Mm-hmm. Another good thing is to bring a stool, something to sit on, something small that's not too cumbersome to carry around. But you're gonna be standing in a lot of lines and you're gonna be on your feet all day. You're definitely gonna thank me for this one, to have a place to sit down. They definitely don't have enough chairs at the conventions, usually around the food court areas, and they're always taken. Mm-hmm. Star Wars Celebration in Europe has a rule, no stools, but there is one stool that they have approved, and it's this stool right here. It's a telescoping stool that you can squish down and fit in your backpack or bag.
And there's no seating in the queue lines. So usually at these big convention centers, you'll be queued up in a industrial looking, almost like a warehouse section of the building where it's a cement floor, and it's very uncomfortable to sit. And you'll want to sit because sometimes you wait for 3 hours.
And on the topic of food, you definitely want to bring some snacks. Food there is really expensive. You're going to be paying like probably $10 for a hot dog or a hamburger. And a lot of your time is going to be spent, again, in line or walking to an event that you want to see. So you got to stay fueled. So bring something like protein bars, fruit snacks.
Granola bars, something that's quick, small, but that will help you get through the day.
Definitely. You also want hand sanitizer because you're going to be around a lot of people. You don't know who's sick. You'll be shaking hands and touching things that other people touch. You definitely want the hand sanitizer.
Yeah, especially these days after COVID. We went to 3 celebrations pre-COVID and 1 post-COVID. It's always a good idea to have hand sanitizer on you. Something else that's really important and that others will thank you for is if you bring a pocket-sized deodorant. Something that will fit in your bag, fit in your pocket, because tight spaces with lots of folks can lead to some unpleasant odors. And trust me, your fellow attendees will thank you if you have a deodorant on you.
Another important thing is if you're going to get collectibles, autographs, photo ops, you definitely want to have something to carry them around in. For photo ops and autographs, I recommend bringing a binder that has plastic sheets, sleeves you can slide them into to protect them. Because if you have to buy the plastic insert, it's there. It's at least $5 each.
Mm-hmm. And it goes up depending on size. So if you have a larger poster, it could be $10, $15.
Right. And if you're planning on bringing or carrying around large posters, a tube is definitely a must. They sell plastic tubes with shoulder straps, which I've seen a lot of people use. That would definitely come in handy for those of you who like to buy artwork.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another thing to keep in mind is with your electronics, cameras, cell phones, you want to have a portable power supply. I don't know how many times I charged my phone the night before and I bring it, and before the convention's even halfway over, my battery's dying. And if I can't find an outlet to plug it in to charge, then I'm just out of luck. So definitely you want some kind of battery pack or charger.
Yeah, I have one, and that's a Mophie. It's small, fits in my bag, it's great.
Another important part of your planning is to make a budget. There's so much going on there that once you get inside, you're gonna wanna buy everything. So it's a very good idea to have a budget of the amount of money you wanna spend or you're comfortable spending, and then maybe add 10%, 20% to that, just because you're gonna want stuff and you wanna have the money to get as much of it as you can.
And if you're anything like me, as soon as you walk into the Star Wars celebration, your budget goes right out the window because you're there and you're only there sometimes once ever in your life. So when you see Anthony Daniels is offering autographs, you might, at the last minute, decide that the money doesn't matter.
You also want to have cash. A lot of tables, the smaller celebrities, you can buy their autographs right at the table or maybe a selfie, and sometimes they take only cash for those. So if you don't pre-order your photo ops autographs and you plan on doing that at the convention, they do have a setup to where you can prepay at the convention before you go for the autograph or photo op. But if you go to one of the smaller ones, you want cash just to make sure you don't get up there and then you can't get the photo autograph you want.
Yeah, and also cash is important too if you're in a pinch and you need to hit a vending machine or something like that.
And in London, you're gonna have to worry about the money conversion. So that's something to keep in mind. I've never been to London, but you've been to London, so you know a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've been to London, and my best advice is that doing your research on the conversion rate before your trip, so that you know how much money you need to have. If you're going to be getting a certain amount of cash exchange, for dollars to pounds, just do your research on that before you go, so you don't get hit with any surprises. And so you can do it in the wisest way possible. And don't use the travel exchange at the airport because they charge a hefty fee.
So since you've been to London before, how would you say you can get around London?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, I would say the best way to travel around London in terms of public transportation is to use the London Underground or the tube system. And you can get what's called an Oyster card, to get around. So that way you don't have to be throwing out cash every time you get on the train, fumbling for money when you're waiting for the bus. You can get an Oyster card. And they do different passes in different increments. So weekends or weeks, they do monthly passes. So whatever is going to fit your travel plans, I would suggest looking into getting an Oyster card. The tube is excellent, it's convenient, it's clean, it's on time, so it's really a good method of transportation.
Okay, so those are some of our tips for surviving Star Wars Celebration and having the best time that you can possibly have. There's a million tips. These are just some that we thought were important. So keep an eye out for other videos about Star Wars Celebration, especially if you've never been before.
Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope you have an excellent time. We love Celebration, and we're very excited for the next time that we can make our way to one.
Definitely.